Welcome to another episode of Wednesday Reflections Podcast. I am your host, Aaliyah, and today this is going to be our last episode to wrap up for season one. Hopefully, you guys have checked out and listened to all episodes. Today, we are going to be talking about love. And I think we can all agree that love is a very overused word. It's it's a very abused word, and I think so many people use it and don't really understand what it is. And so today I want to give you what love actually is, especially from a biblical standpoint and view and a Christian standpoint and view. So some people may disagree with me, especially if you are not Christian, if you're not in the Bible and you're more on the worldly side of things. And I want to address that as well. So before I get into that, let me, of course, give you guys a little bit of a life update. I have been at the gym. After I record this, I will be going tonight. And I also seen the movie The Sheep Detective, or The Sheep Detectives. That was an awesome movie, and though it is a kid movie, it's rated PG. I actually would give it like a 9 out of 10, if not a 10 out of 10. It was very cute, but it was also something that you would be able to watch and pay attention to and really grab your attention, even as a full-blown adult. So if you haven't seen it, I would recommend it to everybody to get out there and go see the movie. But yeah, anywho, going back to the topic, right? I am going to define what love is, and I am going to challenge some people's way of thinking. Okay? Starting first. In the classic passage of 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4 through 8, we know that love is patient and kind, it bears with others, and it does not seek revenge. It's not self-seeking. It puts the needs of others ahead of personal pride or ego. It does not keep a record of wrongs. It forgives and moves past offenses, and it endures all things. It is steadfast, faithful, and never gives up. And we also know that God is love. That being said, what really bothers me is when I hear and I see couples where there is infidelity, or a man is constantly running around cheating, or a woman is constantly running around cheating on their partner, and then turn around and say that they love them or want to confess to the world that they love that person, yet they are actively cheating on them. Those two things cannot coexist. And I'm tired of seeing it. And a lot of times people will tell me like, oh, you just don't resonate with that, or that's just not your experience. And so how can you say what love is? And it's like, no, just because you feel something, deeply, doesn't necessarily mean it's love. You can have attachment. A lot of people have, what is it? It's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't think right now. There we go. Trauma bonds. So a lot of people have trauma bonds. A lot of people will say, oh, we've been through so much. And they will compare history with love. And a lot of times people are confused. A lot of people don't want to be alone. A lot of people do not know how to admit that. A lot of people are afraid to start over, fear of the unknown, etc. But if you are out here and you are cheating and turning around and saying that you love that person that you are cheating on, you are a liar. Because as I just said, love is faithful and love is selfless. So how can the two, how can those compare? They can't. Another thing that I wanted to address is because sometimes we see in TV shows and we see in movies and a lot of entertainment, we see these different things where it's like someone steps out and they eventually find each other and true love and all those different things. And once again, I just wish we could come up with another word for it. But that is just something that, I don't resonate with, and it's something that actually irritates the mess out of me. And I really wish we would stop kind of taking that word in vain. And it's kind of like saying the Lord's name in vain if you really want to go deep and technical with it when you say those different things. And it's like it's like the Billie Eilish lyric as well. If I love you was a promise, would you break it if you're honest? And I am one of those people that take those words very seriously. I don't like people to tell me that they love me if they do not mean it. And I also do not say it just willy-nilly. I don't say it unless I mean it. And I don't know. I think we just need to get back to a point of that. Of really being able to search ourselves before we put that on to somebody. And I will say this. I want to give the disclaimer. Nothing has happened to me. This is not my own personal story or anything like that. There's no infidelity. But I just want to speak on that because I just hear it, like I said, so many different times. And I will hear people, especially after a partner leaves them in their dirt. And they'll say, oh, that was the one. And I just love them so much. And da-da-da. But yet, when you had them, you treated them like crap. You didn't treat them the way that they were supposed to be treated. And on top of the cheating, there was just other abuse and toxicness. But as soon as they leave, but I love them. But how did you love them? Because from my perspective, you didn't do anything for them. You didn't get out of your own way. You never bettered them. You tore them down. So how is that love? And how would you define what love is according to your own definitions? And I feel like that's something that people cannot really tell me as far as love without going back to biblical scripture of what love is, because anything else outside of what I've already defined is just toxic, it's just worldly, and it doesn't work at the end of the day. Especially if you want to see the fruits of your labor, the fruits of your love, the fruits of the spirit within yourself and somebody else. How can anything outside of the definition that I just gave be love? But yeah, so I wanted to leave you guys with that. Today's podcast isn't going to be super long. They said this is the last episode of season 1. We will resume with season 2 after a long break. I need to live more life, experience more things so that I can come back and do some story times. I actually have a few different story times that I want to share from, my adolescence or my teenage years, if you will, that I find funny and just been reminiscing on. And so, I think I'm going to just come back with a little bit more story times instead. But yeah, if there's anything that you guys want to know, certain stories that you may want to hear, or just ask me, go ahead and comment below. And until next time, thank you all for spending time with me today. And you take care of yourselves. Bye.